The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to How to Optimize Your Retail Operations. This is today's agenda. We're going to have a brief introduction. Then we're going to talk about why mobility is key in retail, the focus of this webinar. We have a case study, and we're going to talk about why Neptune's platform is the choice you should be looking at. And we'll have some time for questions and answers at the end. Please submit those using your webinar client, and we'll monitor that as we go. And we'll also follow up with any questions we can't answer today via email. I'm Julian Champion. I'm the pre-sales leader for Neptune Software. I'm based here in London at WeWork, and I'm joined today by a partner.
Yeah, that's me, Alan Robinson. Good morning to everybody. I'm the Managing Director of Retail Solutions in the UK, and I'm responsible for our go-to-market strategy and all of our in-flight projects and consultants around the UK marketplace.
So how do you optimize your retail operations? Well, a good start is the choice of the right platform. Here at Neptune Software, we have our platform called Neptune DX, which offers you a unified user experience for app developers, end users, and business people alike. It offers you a universal way to develop, iterate, and manage enterprise-grade applications from any system landscape for any device. That works across mobile, desktop, and any communication layers you can think of, such as IoT, robotics, blockchain, and so on. Just a little bit about Neptune Software. We have around 1.5 million users, 400 customers in 36 countries. We've had year-on-year-off growth, which is very attractive. And importantly, we have a very strong developer community out there. This summer, we've launched our DX platform, which, as you see at the bottom here, is completely certified by SAP. So, Alan, please tell us a little bit about Retail Solutions.
Yeah, so Retail Solutions, we've been around for 10 years now, a bit more than that actually. We've achieved significant growth over the last 10 years, running at a 15% growth per annum. In 2005, we were formed by a bunch of guys that left SAP and set up the original company around their specialized retail capabilities. We quickly dominated the Swiss market and moved into Germany to expand our services and partnerships. The most recent piece of growth is that we formed our UK company in 2015 with just the three of us. And to date, we've now got a community of full-time employees and contractors numbering circa 30. So that's pretty significant in terms of the UK and the Nordics. And more recently, we've expanded into Austria with an office in Salzburg. And they're in their first year, they've achieved substantial growth, but it really is still in startup mode. So next slide. So who are Retail Solutions? Well, we are privately owned, and all we do is SAP retail consulting, and we implement SAP projects with a focus on the grocery marketplace, which I guess is our sweet spot, and the general merchandise marketplaces, as well as specialty retailing industry verticals. And we are a team of experts, so we've got 150 SAP consultants around our business. And we're right at the forefront in terms of the SAP solutions that make up their retail offer. So SAP PMR, CAR, F&R, and we've developed with SAP a fresh item forecast, which is very, very interesting for grocery retailers. As I said earlier, we've been growing since 2005 at a rate of 15%, which is great. We also develop our own intellectual property. So we complement SAP software modules with our own IP, and one of them, for example, is our master data quality cockpit, which effectively helps retailers to manage the quality of their master data, which is actually vital when you're surfacing very, very sensitive data to the front end via a mobile app. That's that one. Thank you. Next slide. So why is mobility really key in retail today? And I guess, the answer to that is the only really constant thing in the retail marketplace is change. So retailers are constantly faced with having to make changes to their business to react to customer demands, demands from the supply chain, etc. And it's not just the change itself, but it's the pace of that change that they need to move at to keep up to date, and stay in business effectively in today's modern competitive world. So when you show these mobile apps to the business, so IT show a mobile app to the business, they want it. And in the words of Freddie Mercury, they want it all and they want it now. So that's why, in a nutshell, that mobility is really key to the retail space. So if you can move on to the next slide, Julian. So see the difference. So if you look on the left-hand side, traditionally when you surfaced data from whatever back-end solution that you're running in your business, you got something that looked like this. So the navigation around the screen was by F4 cancel, F4, so F function keys to navigate around the screen. And if you look on the right, we've simplified this by using Neptune applications and the fact that they're simple, easy to use screens. And if you think about millennials coming into your business to work for you, and the millennials coming into your stores to buy goods and services from you, and you showed them the screen on the left, they just wouldn't want to get out of bed to go to work. So the millennials are growing up with this simplicity, and this is the difference between that traditional view and the simplified, beautiful screens that we can provide on any device by using Neptune's development platform. So next slide. So why retail needs this mobility across the business? Well, it's across all aspects of a retail business. So in store, through supply chain operations, through analytics, and if you start to look at real-time inventory checks, so you can walk into an operator in the store can actually check in-store real-time inventory. Clienteling, this is the other side of the coin, where you're looking at and reviewing a past history of customers' buying patterns, and you're able to make offers to them that are actually specifically based on what they've bought in the past. Again, linking that to loyalty and the fact that you can actually mobilize all of this via mobile point of sale solutions. Supply chain operations, so massive improvements in warehouse management with the ability to put away, automate the warehousing in process, track items, receive items in, and the bottom line there, picking, packing and shipping, particularly around the commerce space, the e-commerce space. That sort of efficiency using mobile apps is vital. And in fact, there's on the right hand side here, there's Jolly's Room, which is one of the largest e-commerce retailers in Sweden, actually increased their productivity by a huge amount, 195% in their warehouses using mobile devices, effectively doubling the way they manage the number of packages that they can handle in 1 hour. And then back to where you can use all of this data. All of this stuff is real time, so real-time analytic dashboards become a reality rather than nearly real-time or batch offline. Predictive analytics, for better and much improved planning and forecasting across the business. So there are multiple use cases for mobility in retail, and as demonstrated by Jolly's Room or Jolly Room, the results can actually be very, very significant across a retail business. So the next slide. So what I want to do now is talk to you about one of our customers, Co-op in Norway, and it's actually, they pronounce it in Norway as Coop, not Co-op. So what I want to do is just go through one app and demonstrate it, or not demonstrate it, but go through the functionality end to end as to how goods receiving in Co-op is run by using the Neptune app in the store using any device. So let's just go to the next slide. So who are Co-op Norway, or Coop Norway? They are the second largest retail organisation in Norway, and they've got a growing number of stores, but currently at around 1,200 retail sites. They turn over 47 billion NOK, which is roughly 4.7 billion pounds, and they've got 2.5 million cooperative members, loyalty card members. So what are we doing with them? Well, they chose Retail Solutions to re-implement SAP. So they already were a user, or already are a user of SAP ECC6, but they've decided to re-implement everything. So this is a 3 to 4 year project, which includes implementing the SAP CAR, or Customer Activity Repository, and that we implemented that on cloud. That's what the HANA Enterprise Cloud platform did for us there. We're also implementing promotions management for retail, which helps them to manage all of their promotions more effectively, and does actually have a Neptune front end to it, or will have when we complete the development of it. We've implemented our own IP, so they've taken on board our master data quality cockpit, which is helping them to manage and cleanse and provide the data to the target systems in a more efficient way, but also in a safer way in terms of the quality of the actual data being sent to the target systems. We spent a lot of time with them around business process optimization. So what that means is really aligning their business processes and changing their business processes to be more aligned with SAP in terms of what comes out of the box. And we are the first, Retail Solutions is the first organisation to implement omnichannel article availability, which really gives inventory visibility across all of the channels that they trade through, so store, web, service centres, etc. But I guess from a relevancy point of view, the bottom line here around the development of Neptune mobile apps, we chose Neptune as a partner for a very, very good reason, in that it was a competitive situation in terms of our selection of a partner. But really, Neptune's app and the application development platform really was the most fit for purpose platform that we could find. And what we're doing with it is we're developing Neptune mobile applications for, as I say, PMR, and in particular right now, the store apps that provide goods receipting, etc. And I'm going to come on to just go through that in a minute. And I think it's interesting that Co-op were awarded an SAP, so they were awarded an SAP Quality Award in 2017, which was roughly a year and a half into the project with Retail Solutions. So if we go on to the next slide. So why Neptune at Coop? Well, really, it's fast, agile development. This is one of the most important features of any mobile application. The development has to be fast. So no longer are we looking at design, build, test, the clunky old processes. It's more like design, test, design, test, design, test. Put it in a test store, roll it out. It's fast, and it also means that it's iterative. So we're not going away having taken some requirements from a group of people and building it and then coming back and playing it all back. We're doing it, as I've just said, in a design test environment, which means we're sat side by side with the Co-op business people developing these applications. So we can get real speed to value, as I've said on the bottom strap line there, and specific applications developed literally side by side with the business, and that plays to one of the slides Julian's going to pitch a little bit later on. So it's also available on any device, so it doesn't really matter. It can be an Android device, it can be an iOS device, it can be any other kind of device that's compatible. And a really important one, a really important point, is the fact that this is a low-code, low-cost development. And what this means is that we can run pilots in stores. So Co-op, for example, have got an environment where they have a test store, in effect a test store where they can run applications safely in one store to assess the capability of the application, and then maybe change it. So they've got this concept of easy to run pilots, and you can test at very low risk whether the application is fit for purpose in one of these test stores. And I guess from a low cost point of view, if you look at the Neptune model, this plays very strongly to it in that quite a few of the mobile applications that are out there require a purchase of an entire license fee just for the mobile platform itself, whereas the Neptune application platform is all you need. You just need a few licenses to run the pilot with no massive overhead of deploying a full mobile or mobility application license from somebody like SAP or other vendors. So that's actually, from our point of view and from Coop's point of view, we are running these pilots in store, and we can then filter out any deficiencies in a live environment with live users, real end users, providing input before we actually roll it out to 2,500 sites. Bottom line as well, simplified and customized UI. So what our application development process using the Neptune platform, using this iterative development approach, means we can simplify complex processes and actually give users at the store end the capability to drive through a goods receipting application, for example, using very simple screens which are customized to the business process. So all of this means, going back to retailers demanding fast development, low cost development, is we can give Co-op quicker speed to value. So in terms of the applications that we've been developing, rather than taking months months or years through a complex design, build, test environment, using this iterative approach, we can take these development cycles down to weeks and low numbers of months. So very, very quick speed to value for Co-op, and that's what they're actually getting out of it. And we have some of these apps live now. So I'll go on to talk about a specific application that we've developed around goods receipting for Co-op. So if you move on to the next slide, Julian. So Retail Solutions, along with the Co-op business teams and store operations teams, have built a goods receipting application, and it provides the users with all the information they need to manage the inbound processing of products, and also to manage the workload. And if everything isn't going quite so well and there's a credit claim request, you can actually click and directly from the GR process make a claim on the warehouse. So we go to the next slide. So you can see it's the first screen, the first goods receipt screen, is very simple, easy to read, easy to use, and it's all touch-based. So in terms of the top line there, we can see the number of handling units that we're expecting, open handling units we're expected today or tomorrow, numbers 52. Right, so that's what we're expecting on this particular day. And then we've got the possibility to actually search via the SSCC code, which is actually the serial shipping container code, i.e. a pallet or a cage that's in the lorry or the vehicle, or by the GTIN number or the global trade item number. So we can search on those, and then we can see the handling units, the SSCC, if it's available. We can actually see that the expected delivery date and supplier numbers, and whether it's DC or direct. So we can actually then, once we've got to this point, start to filter, and I will show you the filtering screens in a moment. You can actually filter and sort and group options around what you're expecting into the store. And you can see here the store has made a goods receipt, and it's actually only partially delivered. So it won't actually be signed off at that point as delivered. If the handling unit is provided, then the goods receipt will be sent automatically upon scanning the unit itself, and it will be automatically confirmed. So next screen. So as I said before, if you choose the filtering option on the first screen, you can choose between whether you want to look at the expected delivery date, the supplier, or the article. You can also look at whether you want to filter on supplier or retrieve a list of vendors and DCs with all handling unit details, which we talked about earlier, and that will then summarize those handling units associated with each vendor or the DC, and you can see these on the right of each entry, i.e. 21 and 22. If for some reason the search fails to return any data at all, the system will then perform an EDI check to establish if the good receipt is actually required at all. So next screen. So goods, again, this is sorting and filtering. So you can actually sort by an expected delivery date, the date itself, or the supplier. And you can also sort on groups. So you can group on the supplier the date and the expected delivery and the type of goods received. So that's how we can filter on the goods receipt options. And there's one more, I think. Next slide. So we've got to this point now, and we're actually going to start to confirm what's coming in. So you can do this by pressing on the supplier name, and then you'll get all of the contact information. So all of the articles that we're receiving initially will be ticked, but you can actually move them line by line and check them off as you open for goods receipt. So the next piece is confirmed expected quantity of goods receipt and the write-off. And this really means, if you look at in the middle of the screen there, we've actually received an actual quantity of 15. 15 iPhone 16 gigabytes, and we've also received a number of power packs, 23. So these are actually right, so the quantities are actually matching. But if they don't match, you can actually record using the plus or minus keys what the actual was in terms of the receipt. Yeah, so you can confirm the delivered quantity of goods and allow for any non-conformity, i.e. it's up or down in terms of the delivery. Then you can post that and claim that back directly from the DC, which is what I said earlier, in terms of doing this process directly from the application rather than in the background later on. In terms of the order lines, they're all set to 0 in the first place, but in the case of the entire handling unit, or the order is damaged or not delivered, you can then actually post your claim, and the value is then null. If everything is going swimmingly, you can then confirm the quantity of goods receipt by the default order and actually open up for further handling. So you can then post this out to confirm that the goods receipt is all right and correct. So next screen, next slide. So I've just showed you very quickly it's not a very complex process. So goods receiving isn't rocket science, but the real smartness around that last application I showed you is the fact that it actually fits to a process that was designed by the Co-op themselves, or Coop themselves, and our developers. So that's just one app, and there are probably going to be there's at least 5 or 6 in-store apps that we're developing for basically managing the supply chain into the store. But as we go forward as a business with Co-op and other customers, there are a number of Neptune apps that we're developing. For example, store orders with proposals, so you can actually approve, you can review, adjust and approve replen orders. Customer sales orders, which more and more often customers are coming into stores and wanting to place orders. So you can actually have an application that allows the store personnel to create a sales order for home delivery or for pick up in store or for drop ship from the supply chain further up. And you can also create and manage your mobile users in an agile way. So as new staff come in, for example, it's very simple to create and manage users within the Neptune application. So next slide. So look, we've talked and shown you slides today, and quite honestly, it's now time to put our money where our mouth is, and we're offering our prospective customers to work with Retail Solutions and our Neptune subject matter experts to build a custom app in a day. So what does that mean? It means Retail Solutions offer to spend a day on site with you and build a custom app in that one-day session. So we divide it into two halves. So a morning session around discovering really where some of your pain points are in your business, and then try to identify functional areas, i.e. inventory accounting. That could just be one example, but we'll agree a pain point that really is something that keeps you as a retailer awake at night, and agree some potential process flows as a result of that. So that's the morning session. And in the afternoon session, we'll actually build and demo the application. So in the afternoon, we go away, we build the app, and then we come back and play it back to you. And I guess a good way of looking at that is if you click on the link below at some point, because you will get a copy of this presentation. It'll be published later. There's a very good example within this URL, which shows how you can build at pace a Neptune app. Next one.
So thank you, Alan. That was very interesting to hear about how you've managed to do transformation with Coop in Norway. Thank you for that. Now then, how do we make this come to life? You've heard from Retail Solutions and why they've chosen Neptune's rapid application development tool. Let me show you a little bit about it. So our goal here is to accelerate digital transformation in your enterprise. We set about to create one solution to provide you a platform that standards and opens up your development across any system landscape for any device or desktop. This is called the Neptune DX platform, which comprises two different approaches that can be combined together for a very, very powerful offering. We have Planet 8, which has been in the market for several years now, transforming SAP transactions and components that you know and love today, such as the ones that Alan has showed us at Coop here with the apps that he's demonstrated. And then in the summer of this year, we launched a product called Planet 9, which offers you the same great unified digital experience, the low-code, no-code approach, but in this case, it will run on any cloud technology, such as a BlackBerry Pi, or it can run on Kubernetes. We've just launched on the Google Cloud Marketplace for Kubernetes containers, and it will connect to any database or any API. So importantly here, we're not talking about, say, SAP. You can be running Oracle ERP, or you can be looking at your existing legacy IT landscapes that don't have, for example, REST API that you need to get data out of. If you can get to it through XML, we can create you a SOAP API and expose that as REST through Neptune DX platform. Again, we have technology here that allows us to plug into any cloud infrastructure you can think of, such as Azure, Amazon Web Services, and so on, as well as taking on board any of your enterprise security components, your LDAPs, wherever they may be. But what exactly do you get with the Neptune DX platform? It's actually a single pane of glass. It's going to give you a 360-degree view of your development to production life cycle. And it's a single view in what we call the cockpit. Now on the left here, this is your actual app designer with a graphical element that we are currently programming. Now, as we said before, this is all certified by SAP, the platform, and we use SAP mobile elements here of UI5, so SAP UI5 as well as Open UI5 components that you can simply drag and drop to create your game-changing UX. Now, I come from, I would say, a full stack development background. And what I mean by that is very often you can be working alongside 2, 3, or often 4 different styles of developers. Now, they can be database people, people who know the SAP functional components in the back end, app developers, or developers that would be able to expose mobile business objects or ABAP classes, as well as integration developers or administrators who work in your NetWeaver stack or your SAP gateway, and then on to people who actually know raw programming, be it JavaScript, be it native coding for Android or iOS or Microsoft, as well as you would probably look to get on board a designer, a UX designer, to help you work with that flow, as well as your business people. But with the Neptune DX platform, what you're finding is because we have a low-code, no-code approach, all of the above, all of those resources I mentioned can be really trimmed down to almost 1 or 2 people. Yes, I can go in here and add strength through ABAP code, or yes, I can add in server scripts and JavaScript to add robustness to my UI or even to my workflow. However, I can manage it all in one place. I can sit right next to my business user who's perhaps already done a dynamic workflow, be it on a whiteboard or on the back of a napkin, and I can actually work through and, as Alan said, in an agile life cycle, very quickly get up a proof of concept in not just a matter of hours. And as we said, we're offering you the chance to come and do that next to us. It really is quite simple. If you already have ABAP classes and SAP components that we can plug into, we can very quickly bring a mobile development experience to life right in front of your eyes, and we can deploy that very quickly to iOS, Android, or Microsoft. What also is very powerful here, as we said, it runs on anything at all, so there's such a light installation. If you want to run it on an SAP instance, it's a simple transport installation into the SAP ABAP class. You don't need its own server. If you're running it on the cloud or you want to host, you can do that too. It's so small, as we said, it will run on a Raspberry Pi. Now, because this is running on Node.js Planet 9, that is, you can also use the Node package manager. Now, what does that mean? So it's effectively any JavaScript server-side that you want to run, you can plug into literally hundreds, if not thousands, of Node.js packages that you can leverage into your mobile or desktop digital experiences. So though, for example, if you want to run a Hyperledger blockchain or a chatbot into your workspace or your mobile app, a lot of that work is already done for you, and you can simply add those packages as you need into your Neptune environment and either run those server-side or take advantage of those through the API manager and leverage those in your mobile digital experience. This really is a single pane of glass for that user experience that your retail users might want, be it in the store or be it in the warehouse, wherever you may need to run this. Because Neptune also offers really simple online and offline capability, a lot simpler than, for example, SAP's Fury offerings, just a number of attributes for a database table and some simple JavaScript code that you can just pull in from our templates. You're going to be offline in a matter of minutes. Now, that's the development lifecycle. You also need then a very simple way of deploying these great user experiences to your user base. And this is all done as well in the UX platform. So I can build and manage my apps, use and get those out onto your iOS devices, be it or managed devices that you have with your own MDM. That's completely up to you. We work with all manner of MDMs. So it's very easy to do in a number of minutes. Now then, what does this actually mean to you? How are we offering differently to anybody else in the marketplace? Well, we can honestly say that this is going to bring together business and IT joined at the hip for, we think, the first time. It allows your IT developers, who you may have for some time developing your existing IT infrastructures, to sit side by side with business leaders and business analysts to actually optimize that user experience that you so crave. Now, as we've already said, we can run this through desktop and mobile, but now we're able to plug into augmented reality, artificial intelligence, chatbots, blockchain, you name it, all those strategies that you want to leverage and bring to your businesses or to your clients and consumers. We're able to deliver that really fast. So you can actually trust that your IT and your development community are really going to turn around your proof of concepts, your minimal viable products and prototypes so fast that you're able to make empowered business decisions to say, you know what, those are the use cases that I want to take to the market. And the cost of ownership is so low and the cost of development so attractive that we think that you're going to want to do proof of concepts with us and retail solutions as soon as possible. Now, what also helps the developers as well is you become part of the Neptune developer community. So this allows you to go to a website called our Solution Explorer, where any of the developers in the world are able to share their code snippets, their apps, their tiles, their user interface designs, and all of the standards that they have out there. So it's a very rich marketplace. You're not alone. You're not starting from a blank piece of paper. The tools that we're offering you will help you do code very quickly, and that we're finding is very, very great. And it's going to help at the end of the day to create apps that your users want to use and will be happy with. So where to start? Well, the first thing you can do is to select a strong partner. So Alan, please tell us a little bit more about retail and how we work with Neptune together.
Yeah, so from a retail point of view, retail solutions are SAP projects focused and SAP retail only. That's our heritage, I guess. And our 150 consultants, who include a reasonable number of Neptune consultants, are only focused on the retail space. So we then decided to bring this to life in terms of mobility. And as I said earlier, we went into a competitive process and looked at a number of potential partners. And if you remember what Julian has just been talking about, we strongly believed that on that basis that Neptune were the right partner for us across Europe. And he's dead right. You know, where do we start and where do you start? You know, select the right and the strongest partner.
Thanks very much, Alan. So tell us one more about the App in a Day offering.
So I guess this is the call to action. Would you like to take advantage of our offer? So let us know. So if you really want us to come in and be part of a process with you and learn about how the Neptune app can change your world, please reach out to us. So any questions you've got, please reach out, and there's the email addresses for both Julian and I below. And I believe really now we'd like to open up for any questions from the floor that you may have.
Thanks, Alan. So if you have any questions, you can either put them into the chat window, raise your hand, or open up your mic, when we can start a discussion. We have a question from Marcus Robs. Thank you, Marcus. He asks, what is the prerequisite for a useful app in a day session? Having an API available to consume from an SAP system. Alan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a question of actually getting the right people in the room in terms of developing the application to make it relevant to them. So I guess the answer to the question is we'd need to have a pre-call or a pre-call to discuss the type of application or the type of pain problem that you'd want to look at, and then we make sure that you have the right people in the room to help us build the application. Does that make sense?
I think it does to me, Alan. I agree. And I do agree, Marcus, if you do come with us with some APIs or that would be great as well. So it just speeds up that afternoon session, or we just build it. Don't we, Alan?
No, exactly. Yeah, I'm not seeing the questions here. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So the morning session, we spend as much time as needed in identifying what that pain point is, and then figuring out what the business process flows could look like. And then, as I said earlier, we go away, build the app in a few hours, and play it back to the relevant audience. And it may be that you'd want to bring in, for the playback session, you might actually want to bring in key business members to look at the build, what we built.
Well, thanks, Marcus. We have another question from Sven Kippel. He asks, how does the roadmap of Planet 9 look like for the next year? Well, that's a great question, Sven. I personally don't have the answer to that, but we're very close to the developers and CTO back in Oslo, and we regularly put out on the developer community website the release notes for upcoming, I want to say fixed packs, but upcoming release increments, Service Pack 5 and 6 and so on. So I'd encourage you to keep a lookout on the community website. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see in the roadmap though going forward, do reach out to myself or Natalie as well, as you know, and we can feed back to the community what your wants and needs may well be. Does that answer your question? Or you can reach out to me directly on julianchampion@neptunesoftware.com. Okay, Sven? Does anybody else out there have any questions? We have around nearly 20 minutes left. Well, okay, everybody. Thank you so much for your attendance today. This has been recorded, so we'll put this out onto the web and send this out to you as well. We look forward to hearing from you. Do reach out about an app in a day challenge with Retail Solutions. Thanks again to Alan and his great story from Coop. But thank you all for your time today. We hope to hear from you soon. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.